So now that we've talked about the different forms of lines and we've talked about how we can find a point on the line, let's talk about how we graph lines. If we're ever going to draw a graph, such as a graph of y equals mx plus c, we have a lot of information given to us in that equation. Remember, with y equals mx plus c, we are given the slope and we're given the y-intercept already. So if we're just going to graph this, then we just need to use the y-intercept to plot the point. And then we start at the point. So once we started at the point, we use the slope to go across and up and locate another point on the line where we can then connect those 2 points in order to be able to draw the line. Now, remember that the slope formula is that the slope, or m, is equal to y2 take y1 over x2 take x1. In other words, it's equal to the change in y divided by the change in x. So if we have a slope of m equals 2 over 3, that tells us that if we start at a certain point, we're going to change our y by 2 and change our x by 3 to get to the next point. We'll go through some examples and go through that in a bit more detail. But that's the first form. Then the second form is when we have our lines in general form. How do we draw a line then? So we can do that by finding the x and y intercepts. The y-intercept of a line is where the graph cuts the y-axis. And if you think about that with axes here, when the graph cuts the y-axis, the x-coordinate is always 0. Similarly, when the graph cuts the x-axis, the y-coordinate is always 0. So to graphs, we first find the y-intercept, then we find the x-intercept, and then we can join the points, and that will enable us to draw the line. So let's go and do some examples. Example number 1, draw the graph of y equals negative 2 over 3x, take 2. Now this is conveniently an equation that is in y-intercept form, y equals mx plus c. So that's telling us that our slope is negative 2 over 3, and our y-intercept is 0, negative 2. So our slope equals negative 2 on 3, and our y-intercept is equal to 0, negative 2. So if you look back to what we said to be able to graph this, we want to plot the y-intercept and then using the slope be able to work out where the next point lies. If our slope is negative 2 over 3, we can think about that as being, just going to write some notes down here, negative 2 over 3, we can think about that as being negative 2 over 3, or 2 over negative 3. It means the same thing. So there's 2 ways we can do this. We can either go down 2 and across 3 to the right, or we can go up 2 and to the left negative 3. Whichever way, you'll get 2 points. They'll lie in different positions, but they'll form the same slope. So when you connect the line, they'll end up going through the same point. So we've got our axes here, and we're just going to make sure we do what we always do. We put some arrowheads on these axes, and we label 1 the y and 1 the x. Then we also have to make sure that we put a scale on our axes. So I'm going to say that this is 2, so I'm going to count 2 squares as being 1. So if I just make it a bit bigger, so it's a bit easier to draw. So that's going to be 2 to there, and that's going to be negative 2 to there. That's going to be 2 to there, and that is going to be negative 2 to there. So there we go. We've got our axes and we've got our scale. Perfect. So first thing, we're going to plot the y-intercept, 0, negative 2, plot a point right there. And that's the point 0, negative 2. And then we want to find the slope, and we want to use that slope. So we've talked about the slope here, so I'm going to go 2 up and 3 to the left. So I'm going to go 2 up, so that will take me to 0, and then I'm going to go 3 to the left. So 2 up would get me up to there. 3 to the left is going to take me across here. So if I just erase that, that's going to take me across there. You don't have to draw in these lines. I'm just drawing them in for illustration purposes for now. And we're going to get that point right there. Okay, 2 up and 3 across. And then we connect those dots using our rulers. Make sure you draw your line using a ruler. So connect the dots. and happy days, we're done. You'd want to go through the line. But there you go. You've drawn a line. Simple. Alrighty. Next one. We're going to draw the graph of 5x take 2y equals 8. Now this is in slope-intercept form or general form? It's in general form. General form because it's not y equals something. It's 5x take 2y equals 8. So remember when we talked about when we've got something in general form, what we do is we find the y-intercept, we find the x-intercept, and then we plot those 2 points and we draw a line through them. So let's do that. Y is equal to 0. So if that would that 5x take 2 times 0 is equal to 8. So therefore 5x equals 8 because 2 times 0 is 0. Divide both sides by 5 and you get x equals 8 over 5. So that means therefore that our point is 8 over 5, 0. And that's our x-intercept. Now our y-intercept, that's when x equals 0. So if we substitute in when x is equal to 0, we're going to get 5 times 0, take 2y equals 8. So we're going to get 5 times 0 is 0, negative 2y is going to equal 8. Divide both sides by negative 2, and you are going to get that y is going to equal, divide both sides by negative 2, y is going to equal negative 4. So therefore our point is 0, negative 4. We have 2 points. Excellent. We can draw a line. Let's put our y and our x and our scale again. Make sure we draw a scale. It's 8 over 5. It's a little bit tricky to draw. It just means I'm going to spread it out, make sure it's easy enough. So again, I'm just going to go 2 as being there, negative 2 as being there. I'm going to mark my scale. 2 as being there, negative 2 as being there. So that's 2, negative 2, negative 2 and 2. And then I'm going to plot my points. Now 8 over 5, 0. So 8 over 5, you could put that in your calculator, but it's 1 3/5 or 1.6. So I'm just going to make sure it's a little bit more than 1.5. I'm choosing a different colour so you can see it, and hopefully you can see that point there. It's a little bit more than 1.5. When I'm drawing this, I would actually, if I was doing a question, I would actually put that in brackets and put what coordinates it is. Okay, so I get 8 over 5 and 0. And then down here, I've got another point. My point is going to be 0, negative 4 this time. So that's negative 2, so negative 4 is going to go there. So this point here is 0, negative 4. And then I can join the dots and draw a line. So if I get this ruler, connect the dots with my ruler, I'm going to get a line that goes through there like that. And I've drawn a line. Okie dokies. So that's drawing a line from y-intercept form and from general form. Let's just have a quick chat about vertical and horizontal lines. So all vertical lines have the equations of form x equals a. So if they go through 5, the equation of their form is x equals 5, because every single coordinate on that point, on that line, has an x coordinate of 5. Similarly, if they go horizontally through the y-axis, their coordinate, their equation is going to be y equals whatever the value that they go through is. Why? Well, if we think about this, if we've got this is our horizontal line, say it goes through 3. What's the slope of that line? It's flat. The slope is 0. So if we wrote y equals mx plus c with a slope of 0, that would be y equals 2 times x plus c, so y just equals c. All right, let's do a quick example of this. Graph the line with the equation x equals negative 3. Okie dokies, y, x. X equals negative 3. Again, put my scale, make it easy to read. Okay, and we're going to get 3, 3, negative 3, negative 3. Okay, so the line with the equation x equals negative 3, well, that's going to go through negative 3, And it is going to look something like this when I connect it. So that is the line with the equation x equals -3. And then I'm graphing the line with the equation y equals 2. So I'm going to go up to 2, drawing my line like that. And I'd want it to really go on 2, so I'm actually going to draw that again. This is why you use pencil when you're drawing a graph. Okay, so I want it to be nice and accurate, and I want to label it as y equals 2. So don't get tricked on those ones. They're the super easy ones, actually.